Hi, this is Abhijit here. Many students who take agentic AI for enterprise come from diverse backgrounds. Some have coded little in the past, some have coded in different languages, some are experts in Python. Now, this video is going to be a basic video which will explain the Python basics, which is required for this course. It's by no means going to make you a Python expert. I don't think you need to be a Python expert today. You can wipe code, but what you need to be good at for this course as well as for developing applications is to be comfortable with Python. And that's what we're going to explain in these videos. So what I'm going to do is take a case study, right? We are taking a store called Shop Smart Retail, and we're looking at different things related to inventory and order management for this retail store. And through this example, I'll explain some concepts in Python. Initially, we'll start with the basic introduction. We'll look at functions and data structures. We'll look a bit about object-oriented programming, how to import modules. We'll look at how API requests work. We'll look at fast API, which is very useful. We'll look at how database is set up and how to do CRUD operations in database. And then we'll integrate this API with DB. We'll also look at one concept called async functions, and then finally maybe put it all together in a capstone project. It may take a couple of videos for me to explain all of this, but the idea is for you to quickly understand the basics of Python and be literate in reading Python. Okay. And the pedagogy will be as follows, right? I'll briefly explain, then I'll walk through an example. There'll be a practice exercise which will be available for you, which you can do. And then the expected results is shown. So let's get started. So I think many are familiar with Python, but for completeness, what is Python? Python is a high level language, general purpose language. It began as a scripting language, but it can be used for many, many things today, right? It is used for web development. It's used for data analysis and ML. It's almost the default language for that. It's used for automation of pipelines. It's used for API development and so on, right? And we are going to learn this using a Google product called Colab, right? So if you go and type colab.research.google.com, you get Google Colabs and you can open that and run. This specific code is running on Google Colab, right? And Colabs have things called cells. You can run each of these cells and the Python code there will get executed. Okay. So now some basic syntax, right? So we're going to look at a few things. What is a variable, which is very common for every program, right? It is think of it as a bucket which will hold some data. In Python, you don't need to declare the variables, but there are many types of variables in Python, right? So there is string, there is integers, there are real numbers, which is float, and then there is bool, right? This is the first concept which we'll look at. The second concept we'll look at is how to print responses, right? Print. And then we'll look at f strings, which will be used for formatting how the strings look. So that's going to be the first exercise. We're going to start slow. So let me open it up. So let's look at this. So I have a variable store underscore name, and I have given it a string. Whatever is in these double quotes is a string. And then it has a location, which is also a string. Rating is 4.7, so it is a float. Is open is true, which means it's a bool variable. And employee count is 45, which is an int variable. So these are variables, different types of variables which are stored. Now I need to print it. So if I want to print it in a good way, then I use print with f here, which is the f string. And then I pass store, which is just what has to be printed, and the value of store name, which is in the curly bracket, right? Similarly, I kind of have all the other details. Okay. So what you see here is how to display the store information using fstrings. You can also do one thing. You can print which type of variable each of these are, like store name. I told you it is a string, but we might want to check what it is. Rating is open. We might want to check all of this, right? And the third piece which we are going to check is, can we do some basic arithmetic, right? So if revenue of quarter one is X, revenue of quarter two is Y, can I add these two? Can I average it? If so, once I average it, can I print it? So these are things which we are going to check. So to check that, all I'm going to do is go here and click run. You can do shift enter and it'll do the same thing. And I'll look at the results down here. So notice, what is this? Store is equal to store colon shop smart retail. Where did this come from? This came from this print statement. So whatever was store here came as store, and then whatever is in the curly bracket store name came from the variable shop smart retail. Okay. Similarly, location is downtown New York. Ratings is 4.7 by 5. Currently open is true and employee is 5. The next set was to check what was the type of variable, right? So if you see here, type of store name was class string. Type of rating was class float. It's a variable of class string, variable of class float, and is open is a variable of class bool. And then finally, we looked at the print statement for total revenue, which is the sum of revenue in Q1 and Q2, right? So you got that. And then there is average quarterly revenue, which is the average, which is the second print statement, right? Some basic stuff about how to use variables and look at print statements. Cool. Now let's move forward. Here you have the practice exercise, right? You might want to try this out. Wherever there is an hash with to do, you can assign something of your own. Try to mimic what is up there, and you should get the results. And the solution is given right here, right? Okay. Now let's move on further. The next concept I want you to understand is the concept of a function. So a function is basically a block of reusable code, right? And functions take some input and give some output. Within that is some logic which will help you uh, to compute the output, right? So the syntax is going to be like this. It's all functions start with def, and then the function name is you're going to list all the inputs that the function take inside a bracket, and then a colon, and then followed by the logic, and then the return statement. Okay. So this is one concept you have to understand. We'll look at examples of functions. The second thing is you want to learn about some data structures. Okay. Data structures are useful for you to have complex types of data. So there are three data structures which we have to look at. One is called a list. Basically, a list always starts with a square bracket and ends with a square bracket, and inside you can keep anything, right? For example, I can have here, let's see, list of numbers, right? So this can have 1, 2, 3, 4, or list of this is like a variable name, right? I can give names, right? So it can have all within quotes, right? Names string, say Ali, and then Bob, quotes, and maybe Ram, right? So now I have, this is a list of strings. This is a list of numbers. This is a list of strings. So I have a more complex data set. And the important thing to note here is that it starts with a square bracket and ends with a square bracket. Okay. So that is a list. The second type of data structure is called a dictionary. So dictionary starts with a curly brace and ends with a curly brace. Okay. And it has two things. It has a key, which is in quotes, and it has a value, right? So it has like a name, which is called widget, and a price, which has a value. So this is a dictionary, right? So let's look further here, right? Let's say called D of D1, dictionary 1. What should it start with? Curly braces. And it has key 1 in quotes. And then a colon followed by value 1. Then comma, key 2 in colon, and then, sorry, in quotes, then a colon, and then it has a value. Let us say it's a string value, name. Okay, and then I close the curly bracket. So this is a dictionary, right? Now the third type of data structure is called a tuple. So tuple just means that you have two values or three values or whatever it is in order, right? It has a value a comma b with a round brackets, right? So these are three data structures. Now we'll look at these data structures in code. So here we have a very interesting data structure, right? It starts with a square bracket and ends with a square bracket. So which type of data structure is this? It's a list. But what's inside the list? The inside the list, there is another data structure, which is a dictionary. It's starting with the curly braces and ending with the curly braces, right? So it is a list of dictionaries, right? So I have stored some interesting information here, right? I have some product catalog information. So the first product, it has a SKU. The key is SKU, and the value is SKU001. Its name, product name, is wireless mouse. It's again a list, right? And then the third element of the dictionary is a price, and its value is 29.99, right? And then the stock, which is 150, right? Similarly, the second one is USB-C, and the price is 49.99, and so on. So this entire thing is a list of dictionaries. It's a catalog of products, right? So we already looked at a complex data structure. Now let's look at some functions. So look at what the first function is. It's calculate discount. It takes the price as an input. It takes discount percentage also as an input. And what does it return? It returns the um, it returns basically the price minus discount, okay, rounded to two decimals. So it gives the discounted price, all right? So if you see, the discount amount is price into discount percentage by 100. So this is the discount amount. So you take the price and subtract from that the discount amount. And the 2 here says that you need to round it to the 2 digits after the decimal. And this is what it returns. Similarly, the next one is get products in stock. So it gives a list of all products which have greater than minimum stock. So this minimum stock here is set to 0. If the minimum stock is set to anything else, it gives you that stock. The third function is calculate the total value of all inventory, right? So this is something which is useful in retail. So you want to kind of look at the total value, which is the price times stock, and you're going to add up for all products, right, in the catalog. So here you have a for loop for product in catalog, get the product's price, get the product's stock, multiply that and add it to the total, and then return the total. So now let's see it in action. So here, if you see, these are all reusable pieces of code, right? So let's look at this. For print ShopSmart product catalog. So you want to print the catalog. So for P in catalog, which means every product in that catalog, sale price is equal to calculate discount. So I'm using calculate discount and I'm going to pass the price and I'm going to say 10% off, right? And then print that, right? This is the first piece of first time when we have used this function calculate discount, which was above here. Okay. And the second piece of code which you're going to see is look at total inventory value. So here I have a function, I have a variable well stocked, which looks at get products in stock with minimum stock of 50. Okay. And it is going to just get that stock and print that, right? And this one is where you get the catalog value, print it. So let's look at the results of each of this function, right? So first one was print all your catalog. So there were 4 products: wireless mouse, USB hub, laptop stand, and webcam. And I have its details, right? The price, the sale, the stock. So I have all of these details. And the print statement is as follows, right? Print the name, print the price, print the sale price, and print stock. Then what is the total value of inventory? Just computed the total value of inventory and printed it. And then the third one is products with 50 plus units. So these three, look at this: webcam, the USB, and the wireless mouse have more than 50 units. So that is printed. And the one with less than 50 units is not printed. Okay. So just to recap, what all have you learned? You have learned how to, you learned about variables, you learned about data structures, you learned about functions, and you learned how to print. So these are the few things which you have learned right now. And there are practice exercises which you can play with here, right? Some more functions which you can write, like apply bulk discount, and you can look at the results for that. Okay. So let's now move on and let's look at another concept. In most real world cases, you are dealing with objects, right? And you connect these objects in various ways and you accomplish things. To kind of mimic that in the coding world, there is something called object-oriented programming. And object-oriented programming comes with two major things which you need to understand. You need to understand the concept of classes and the concept of objects, right? So what is a class? Think of class as a template which defines, what type of object it could be. I could have a class of products. So within the class of products, laptop is a product, USB-C is a product. I could have a class of customers or a class of employees, any of that. So that's a template. And the object is a specific instance of that class. Okay. So class is a template, and then object is a instance of the class. Now a class has a few things, right? It has this. Let's look at the code and probably understand that better. So I have this class called product, right? So it has some construct like define init with the self SKU name, price, and stock. So these are what are called attributes of the class, which means these are the values which that class can hold. It can have a SKU, it can have a SKU name, price, and stock. It can also have some functions which are embedded within it. These are called methods. So define apply discount is a function, is available is a function, and sell is a function. So a product can basically an object of class product can be, you can apply a discount on it. You can check if the stock is available. You can sell it, right? So these are things which you can check here. And so essentially, to summarize, class is a template, an object is a type of, is an instance of a class, and there are attributes which are, the data elements which can be stored in the class, in the object, and there are methods which are functions which belong to the class. Okay. And so here I saw the class product, then there is a class customer. So what are the attributes of customer? I can have a customer ID, I can have a customer name, email, loyalty member, is he true or false, and his purchase history, which is a list. Now, what are the things which I can do with that object of customer? I can apply a loyalty discount. I can add a purchase. I can look at the total spend and so on. Okay. So just now to kind of take it forward, you see here the mouse. Mouse is a product. Mouse is a type of product, right? And I've instantiated it as a class of, it's a class of product with SKU1, wireless mouse, price, and stock. So mouse here is an object of type product class, or the class is product. Hub is also an object, right? And it's also of the type or object product class. Now Alice here is from customer class, right? It has a customer, like all the attributes of customer are here. See, there is a customer ID, there is the name, there's the email, and then is loyalty member equal to true? That's also there, right? Notice that all of the attributes need not be present while defining the object, right? So Bob, for example, has a customer ID, it has a name and email, but is loyalty member is not there, right? So, or purchase history is not there. So what I have here in code is I print this object, I print this mouse and hub, as well as Alice and Bob, right? And then I can operate with these objects, right? Alice buys a mouse. How do I do this, right? So the original is equal to mouse dot price. So I got the price dot price, pulls out the price attribute from the object mouse. Okay. And then I take the loyalty price, which is Alice dot apply loyalty discount of the original. So if you see here, there is loyalty discount, apply loyalty discount. So what does it do? It takes the object, it takes the price and multiplies it with 0.95, which means it gives a 5% discount. Okay. So here you're going to, this line, loyalty price is equal to Alice dot apply loyalty discount, the original, basically takes mouse's price and gives a 95%, 5% discount. And then I print, right? The original price and the loyalty price. Okay, so this is one thing, right? And what else needs to happen, right? It needs to add this purchase of mouse to Alice's account. So Alice dot add purchase, which is again a method in that class, and the mouse dot name, which is the product which has been added, and the loyalty price. This has been added, right? And then Bob tries to order 100 hubs. So hub dot sell of 100, right? So now let's run this and see what happens. Right, the first print statement was print mouse, right? So yes, it printed SKU1 wireless mouse because that's what was kind of sent to mouse, right? Now let's look at hub, right? So here hub was printed. Okay, there's 75 in stock. Now the next thing is customers. So print Alice. So Alice, her details, and then Bob was printed, Bob with his details. Now Alice buys a mouse. So the original price was 29.99 and a 5% discount was applied. So the loyalty price was X, right? And then the next thing is sold one of wireless mouse, remaining stock is 149. So this stock reduction happened. So all of these are based on the methods in the class. Okay. Now Bob tries to buy 100 hubs. There are only 75. So I get insufficient stock for USB-C hub, available 75. And the answer is false. So let's check which function here does this, right? If I go here, there should be a check somewhere, right? Yeah. So here, if you see define diff of cell, if the quantity, the first thing I do is if quantity is greater than the stock, right? Then I say insufficient stock and I return a false. If the quantity is less than stock, then I basically sell it and then subtract the quantity from the stock, right? So this is a function which is going to, which operated here, if you see here. And when Bob tries to buy 100 hubs, this function was something which was called. Okay. Hope you understood these two concepts, the basic concept of variables, then the concept of data structures, the concept of functions, and some basic object-oriented programming concepts. Okay. In the next video, we'll look at further more. For now, let's stop.